Basically the climate is a cool, dry, desert climate. So it means that there are days with high temperatures and very cold nights. Here in the field that we are in currently, which is Espinal, together with Talanai we have a proximity to the sea that allows a colder climate. Here, the maximum average temperatures during summer do not exceed 24 degrees Celsius. This is very good for the vineyard. The funny thing is that it is also dry. So, a very cool climate for the production of wine. We also have diurnal changes in temperature, which helps a lot for different flavors, and for the color of wine. Here we have marine influence, therefore there is a lot of Comanchica.
What is that?
Those are clouds. They come from the sea in the form of fog, which remain here approximately until noon or 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So apart from the fact that it's colder, there is also this absence of light itself. This produces wines that mature a lot slower, which allow better concentration in the grapes. On rainy years, it rains no more than 80 millimeters a year.
Which means that you are below the grape production limit. I assume that you need irrigation here.
Yes, we do need irrigation. Basically, it comes from the rivers, and from the reservoirs, because we're in a dry area that gets little rain. Because in the coastal areas, whether Espinal or Talanai, the beauty of those soils is that they present a very high calcium carbonate content. Basically lime soils. That provides something very specific to the wines.
Freshness, minerality.
Exactly, I would say that on one hand calcium carbonate helps a lot with the structure and mobility of water in the soil. That is very good. But on the other hand, since they're salts, they retain water. So I can irrigate, have a lot of water, have a lot of rain, but it's retained by these salts for the plant.
And then there is a layer of calcium that is buried. Can we see it here?
Okay, no problem. Look, here you can see the horizons we have here. Basically, here there's a bit of clay presence. Afterwards a sandy soil is laid, since the fat of these soils is its origin. It is a round, alluvial rock which is covered by lime. This lime comes from the mountain range. Its origin is from a mountain range, and when it comes down with the water, the salt begins to deposit on top of this stone. Here is a good medium for root growth.
Those are the roots of the vineyards.
Yes, they deepen very well due to the lime content. The lime gives structure to the soil, but the problem with these salts is that they retain water. They give mobility in the soil, but for the plant it's not easily available due to the salt issue. So what we try to bring to our wines is basically from the plant being able to remove the water retained in the soil. The plant automatically creates a mechanism to acidify. This way, water can enter the plant. During the acidification, the plant structure, the leaves, the branches, the grapes, become more acidic. So, when this happens with the plant in calcareous soils, the wine is naturally acidic. When we talk about the vineyard, the climate, and the soils that we have today, we look for a wine that's made representing the region. It's a wine from one place. So for us, if the barrel is very powerful in its aromatic charge, it is a diverter from what we want to have in the bottle. For this we are very cautious and careful. We have a barrel pull of approximately 600,000 liters, so we pass a large part of our wines through barrels. So we have an organization in such a way that the Gran Reserva wines will spend about 6 months in the barrel. From this to our high-end wines, which can see up to 2.5 years in barrels.
French or American oak?
100% French oak, from different brands.
I want to ask you to explain briefly the production of each of your wines. Not all, but for example, Sauvignon Blanc, which is precisely the one that does not enter into barrels. How do you do it?
Sauvignon Blanc is a 100% fermentation in inert vessels, where the most important point for me, especially with Sauvignon, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, is the harvest point, where we define how the wines will be like at the end in the bottle. But of course, Sauvignon Blanc ferments 100% in stainless tanks and goes to rest without barrels. Then we bottle them. But then we have varieties like Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and the other reds that go to these barrels, and according to the category they're in, is the time that they'll spend in the barrel and on which barrel. We don't do malolactic conversion with Chardonnay, it ferments in stainless steel. There's a small portion that ferments in barrels to then make a final blend of the three categories that we have defined. We don't stop malolactic fermentation right away. We let all our Chardonnay pass through barrels, the Vedas Blancas in particular. And obviously we check each barrel so that the fermentation does not start. But the wine does mature a little more, because tea's a vertical wine with very good acidity.
You also have a Cabernet Franc that I personally like, the Vetas Blancas, right? How did you make it?
Part of what we want to look for in a bottled wine comes from the fermentation. From the harvest up until the wine is 100% done and separated from its skins. From this alcoholic fermentation in which the wine is already made up to the barrel, it takes about a year and 2 months, no more than that, to avoid losing freshness.